Okay, welcome to our Facebook Live. I think we're live, that's right. My system's telling me that we're all systems go. Can't see any comments yet, but I'm sure they're coming. So welcome, guys, to Season 2, Episode 2 of Inner Strength Live. I have the beautiful Tammy Richie here with me this evening, so thank you, Tammy, for joining me as our beautiful guest on the first guest, actually, of Season 2, which I'm excited about.
Oh, wow. And there's no mistake. It's number 2, right? Number 2 is such an amazing number, energetic. So thank you for having me, Fiona.
You're welcome. And tonight we're going to be talking about how to get out of your head and into your heart. So before we get into that, I'm just going to say that I'm Fiona Jean, the host of this show, and also most people know me as the Purposeful Warrior, because it's my passion, really, if you like, to teach others, to share my experience and wisdom, and bring others into the fold as well to share their experience and wisdom, with the ultimate aim of creating generational wealth for you and your legacy. You know, that's that money, if you like, that keeps on giving and giving, you know. And I say generational wealth because I think wealth comes in all forms. It's the love that we give ourselves. It's not just the dollars and cents, although that helps us achieve the dreams and gives us time, money, freedom, but it's a lot more than that. So in this new series, I want to poke the bear a bit. I want to tell it how it is, which I generally do anyway. Share the truth of exactly, what we're talking about, different things, and what I've learned and experienced. And I'm also going to encourage my guests, and I'm sure I don't need any encouragement with Tammy, to do exactly the same. Because I think by doing that, by being raw and real and vulnerable, within what we do, we can actually help a lot of people. Because after all, there's no magic pill. We have to do the work and commit to do the work as well. So I've got my conscious cuppa. It's actually a beautiful homemade kombucha that I'm going to have here and enjoy that. Some more good healing going on. So I hope you've got your conscious cuppa, your notebook and pen, and somewhere quiet, and we'll get into the session. Because like I said, it's not FGTV. I don't want it to be that. I want it to be a really serious, conversations that we can have with some fun along the way. Of course, you know what we like. We like to have fun and laughter with that, but also the chance for us to really connect and to come away with some tools and strategies that, should you choose, can really help you to move forward in your life. And that's what we're all about, empowering each other and moving through this, making everyone's lives better. So Tammy, let me introduce Tammy. I'm excited about this. Such a remarkable woman whose story is a beautiful, powerful reminder, shall we say, of what we're all totally capable of as human beings. I'm going to leave her to tell us more about her story as we go through, because I know she's extremely proud of the impact, she's made, and rightly so. She's making waves, throughout communities internationally, everywhere, and really making a difference. And the legacy that, she set up to leave is just going to continue, as it evolves. Everything evolves. So today, as an internationally awarded inspirational speaker, trainer, co-author, wife, mum of 3, so many things, it's difficult to categorize them all. She also loves being a visionary, change maker and a mentor for so many people all around the world, that it's beautiful to sit back and to watch that. You might not have known this, but I followed you for a while and what you've been doing as well, Tammy, and it's a huge inspiration. So thank you for being you, for being here to raise the vibration, the energetic vibration in the field, and just to have this beautiful impact and of positivity that you do on the world. So I really want to welcome you. I'm excited to get into this session.
Thank you so much, Fiona. And, everything that you have said there is just so relatable and so true. Because for your viewers out there, you may think that, when you try and follow people, or you're looking into their journey and you're trying to get some sort of inspiration in your own life, that sometimes it might feel out of reach. But I love how Fiona said, this is all about being relatable, authentic, letting people know that we are humans just like yourself, and, we go through the journey. And those of us that go through the journey, we might, go through massive obstacles, but it's what we learn along the way. And, sharing is absolutely caring. So that's how we can, really raise up the energy vibration and make it relatable, and allow your viewers to actually understand that they can do this as well. Because it is crazy. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's right. And I think that's it. Those of you that are joining, please, drop in, say hi, send us some love, tell us where you're coming from, and anytime pop questions into the question box. If you are watching the replay or you come across this on the YouTube channel, please again #replay, post the comments and the questions, tag us in there, and we'll get back to you with the answers. Long after this live is over, let this live on and keep serving others.
Yeah, that's amazing. So today I really wanted to really just tune in and, teach your viewers how to get out of their head into the heart space, because where the heart is, it's, so much more powerful than the brain. The brain, we're in a space where it will try to always keep us comfortable, always try to keep us safe, and sometimes it's not what is needed. Sometimes when you're jumping on that precipice and you've got this amazing opportunity that comes your way and you get so excited and your soul is telling you yes, 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 and then you go home, you think about it and your head goes, oh, you know what, and says all the reasons why you shouldn't, all the reasons why you should. So how do we smash that little voice in our head, tune into the heart space, and live the life that we deserve? It's quite simple, really. There's some strategies that we can use, but before I share any tools and strategies with you, I think it's really important that I share my journey, because nothing that I do is being, or I share, has been anything that I've not overcome myself or been through. So I'm not about regurgitating information. I'm about being relatable, being real, being authentic, and giving you the real guts and the real gold gems, the nuggets that we're going to get. So like you guys, yes, Fiona mentioned I'm a mum of 3 beautiful children, 2 that are grown and 1 that's now 15. And the little 15-year-old, or not little, is a guy. I'm sure he wouldn't like me saying that at all. But I was an engineer for 17 years working on aircraft, and I absolutely loved it. But I was actually at the peak at what I was doing. So I was blessed to be in the Royal Australian Air Force and to travel the world and to do some amazing things that most women, or men even, would not get to do. And my day was pretty exciting each and every day. So when we had our 3rd child, our little guy, who's now 15, I made the decision then that I was taking time out. So up until that point, I was always the go-getter, the type A personality, the one that there's not enough hours in the day, keeping busy, busy, busy. So I was working full-time as an engineer. And then I was also thinking, how can I get out of the engineering? Because the retirement age kept on just increasing. I was working, I was the woman in the male-dominated environment, of which I loved, but I couldn't see myself doing it right up until retirement. In fact, and they kept on increasing the retirement age. So I made the decision that, something had to change, because it was really difficult. My husband and I met on the tarmac. We're both engineers, and being in that space, it was difficult because one of us was always away. So our children really needed a parent to be around. So I made the decision, I'm going to go to uni whilst I was working full time to do my teaching degree. And I did that for 2 years. So when we made the decision to have our baby, our final child, the 3rd one, I made the decision that, you know what, I've never allowed myself space. I've never allowed myself the time to breathe. I've never allowed myself to immerse in nature and just be, because I was always busy. Because throughout my life, I was taught that the way to succeed is by being busy, busy, busy. So giving myself permission to take some time out and breathe was pretty amazing. And I really didn't understand why. I think that sometimes when you look over and there's hindsight and you look at your dot to dot of your life, it all lines up and there are reasons and you're compelled and the divine energy flows through you, but you don't really understand. But I didn't question it either. So what I actually decided to do was take the time out, enjoy the time. And the whole time that I was on the maternity leave, I was questioning, I was dreading, thinking, I'm going to have to go back to the career that I loved but no longer fulfilled me, and I could be potentially there until the day I retire. What can I do? And I had no idea what to do. And in fact, during that time off, I was taking time out. But what I also did was I enrolled in a small business course. And my husband said, what are you doing that for? I'm like, I don't know. I felt led. I had no idea why I needed it whatsoever. I wasn't contemplating business at that stage whatsoever, but I absolutely did need it. So isn't it interesting how when you listen and you start to listen to the whispers of your soul, and now you get the aha moments, like, wow, if I didn't listen to that, perhaps I, would have had to do further study.
A different story.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
beautiful. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think it is so important to listen to your own intuition, your gut reaction, whatever words it is for you, because you're right, otherwise it's a life unlived, really,
and
to its potential, when we don't take time out to listen and to dig and to question, are we really doing what we choose to do every day?
And that's it. And how do we know what our gifts are, what our purpose is? What that is our inner GPS speaking to us. Yeah. And so, and when we're in our head and we're so busy, we fail to hear the signs. So during this period, I'd given myself the most amazing ingredients to be able to heighten my intuition, unbeknownst to why I needed it even. And so when it was coming up close for me to have to go back to the engineering, something happened, and it was pretty traumatic, and I'll share it with the viewers, but I look at it now as a total gift, because I absolutely wasn't listening probably, and I got a massive tragedy which woke me up and got me into the heart space where I couldn't fail any longer and I couldn't question. So we'd moved to the beautiful Gold Coast, which was really lovely. And for the first time in our life, we got to buy our own home and live in it. And because when we were in the military, they just tell you this is where you're going to live and plonk yourself in. And so it was all so exciting. The first day when we moved in, I was unpacking boxes and I was just so excited. My husband went to Bunnings, which is a hardware store for those viewers overseas. He went to a hardware store to make sure that we had all the locks on all the doors and everything like that, to make sure that our children were safe. And obviously before purchase of the property, we got building inspections carried out. So we kind of felt safe. But on the morning that we moved in and the boxes were everywhere, I made the decision to hook in and start packing, pulling all the stuff out of the kitchen and putting my kitchen together. My little guy at the time was just 16 months. Our other two children were being looked after. So the only little guy in my care at the time was our little guy, and I plonked him right down within my eyesight. And he never used to go anywhere. He used to be such a great baby. He would just sit there. So then all of a sudden, I got this awful feeling something was wrong. And it was like pounding out of my chest. Like I couldn't dismiss it, And so the feeling that came to me caused me to stop and caused me to look up, to realize that my little boy, my little baby that never used to go anywhere, was suddenly not there. Now, my head was trying to justify the whole thing. My head was trying to tell me, oh, you know what, he'll be playing with his toys in another room, or perhaps he's painting the wall with your makeup, just having a fun thing, what children will do. But because I had done the work on myself, it was so clear to me that it was like I could not dismiss it. I could not dismiss this free sounding from my heart. My heart was telling me, you need to go looking, and you need to go looking now. So with that in mind, where I was led to, I didn't want to go to that area because it was telling me the pool. However, I didn't hear a splash or a scream. So again, my head was justifying. So I thought, you know what, I'll start with going room to room, box to box to try and find him. And I couldn't find him anywhere. So then every parent's worst nightmare suddenly became my reality as I took those steps closer to the pool. And there's my flesh and blood, the little guy that I'm meant to be looking after, the only one in my care, fully clothed, nappy on, shoes on, the whole bit, floating on top of the water. So you can just imagine, like when a person does drown, they actually drop to the bottom and then they float to the top. So he was already floating on the top of the water. Now, my immediate reaction was to give my power away to someone else and try and scream out for help, but there wasn't anyone there. There weren't any neighbours home. It was a Saturday morning. And then I was like, oh my goodness, there is no one there. So I had to get him out of the pool. He's lifeless in my arms. I knew I was trained in CPR. I knew I needed to call emergency on my home phone, to which I went to my home phone and it wasn't connected. So again, Another thing that I want your viewers to actually be aware of is to never ever just assume, because I assumed that because we had the building inspection done that someone would tell me if I had a faulty gate. I assumed that I asked someone to connect my phone, that it would be connected, and those things failed me miserably. So I've got him in my arms, all of a sudden thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know where my mobile phone is. It's unfamiliar surroundings. And then even though I was trained in CPR, I mean, it is crazy having to do something like that on your own child. And my head was trying to tell me that I couldn't do it, that I wasn't good enough, that I couldn't remember. I could not remember the rotations. I couldn't remember the whole strategy behind it. And I remember thinking, oh, I felt so let down and disappointed with myself, and also all the years that I had done that training, that how could I have done a course for the tick in the box and not actually felt really compelled and empowered that I could actually do it myself. And I've got my son lifeless in my arms. And then I remembered the power of breathing. Automatically, it kind of just happened. And I closed my eyes just for a second and I breathed deeply. When I breathed deeply, it got out of my head, and I realized that unless I do something, anything, it doesn't need to be perfect. Because think about your viewers, and sometimes, you know, they're wanting to put on an event, or they're wanting to go somewhere or do something or do some kind of opportunity, but they're waiting to line up all the dots first before everything is perfect, before they actually launch and do something. Yeah. I didn't have a choice in that matter. So this was a massive lesson for me. And I'm really going to focus in on this as well. Excuse me for a second, because this is a tool that is something that you need to actually smash that voice again, and just understand and realize the power of your heart. Because my head was trying to tell me no, and then my heart all of a sudden was saying, come on, you can do this. It doesn't need to be perfect. If I don't do something, he's no longer with me. So with that, I lay him down on the floor, got over myself, tried something. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough to actually resuscitate him and save his life. It's crazy, but by the time, you know, he started breathing, it wasn't on the first rotation, it was on the second rotation. So on the second rotation, up until that point, my head was still trying to tell me, you know what, he's gone, we're not going to have anything. How can I have the conversation with my husband and the rest of my family and tell them that on my watching the only job I had to do, and I failed at that dismally, and the mother guilt came in and blah blah blah. So I just had to continue just doing anything. It didn't really matter.
Anything you could, yeah.
And so when he started breathing, I was like fortunate to find my mobile phone. Thankfully, I still had to keep him alive for 15 minutes until the paramedics arrived. When the paramedics arrived, they suspected the worst. They were prepared because they thought that he had gone. And so when they walked into the house and they could see him and he started breathing, they couldn't believe it. They stood there and they held me and they cried with me. And they said, your story is so, so, so powerful. You need to, they immersed me into the media, and that was my why. That was my gift. It was like, you know, how could I have this powerful story and not share it to the world, not get my tambourine out, not shout it from the rooftops, because every parent needed to know that story.
That's right. Oh, thank you so much for your openness and sharing that, Tammy, because I do, my heart goes out to you. You know, I can only imagine what you must have felt in those moments, but thankfully you allowed yourself to follow your heart and to find that strength and that resilience within you to do what needed to be done. So yeah, it's beautiful, and I'm sure, you know, so many people will feel the same when they watch this replay as well.
Yeah, and definitely, and actually talking about the perfectionism, that sometimes, you know, that we don't do things because everything's not lined up. It's like, how much are you keeping from the world by not sharing? You know, secret of living is giving, and coming in a serving place and sharing is the most powerful gift that you can give. So I encourage your viewers to think about when they hang up their washing. You know, does their washing need to be hung up perfectly with nice pegs, all in a line and in a row? Or is it going to dry, just throwing it on the clothesline any which way, because they're still going to get the same outcome, okay?
Yeah.
So doing simple things like that from normal mundane tasks actually make it fun as well.
Yeah.
But also it just shows your viewers very clearly that, you know what, you don't need to have everything perfect to get that outcome. Just
Yeah.
start.
Imperfectly perfect's just as good, if not better.
Absolutely, most definitely. And you
Yeah.
know what you tell yourself as well. So during that time, I had to tell myself, I had to smash the voice, get over myself, have a crack anyway, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I'm sure like nowadays, you know, and I learned so much from that experience. There was so many tools, but the perfectionism one is such a powerful one, because even like now when I run events, I've got an event coming up here on the Gold Coast pretty soon at Versace and Sheridan and Ladybird, such amazing spaces, and you know, really try to just reignite people's souls. But when I book those events, I actually organize it, book it first, and then work out, okay, what am I going to do with these people?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't wait. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Because I think there's an old saying, and I'm not sure how old it is or who said it, but it's like, you know, when you have a big enough why, the how takes care of itself, you know, and that's the sort of thing. It's just trusting that
Yeah.
the solution and the, you know, the how are you going to deliver it, what you're going to deliver will all come, you know.
Yeah.
It's a case of just following the initial pull, if you like. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And not questioning either, and just like asking to have the faith to follow the divine guidance that comes into your heart, because we all have it, but it's our head that can sometimes take us out. And so it's about acknowledging that. So when we do have moments where, you know, negative things come up and we have the negative self-talk, it's about remembering to stop for a second, like see that you're doing it, see it's a pattern, stop, and then we'll just resource or, you know, grab another word similar, you know, to try and change it. I think it's, swap it. Sorry, I needed the S to swap. So it's the 3 S's. So see, stop, and swap.
Right. Okay. Love that. See, stop, and swap. Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah.
Great. Triple S, which is like an SOS in some ways, isn't it? You know, type of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Well. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And so, you know, time and time again in our lives, you know, we can find ourselves in that situation where it's easier and comfortable to sit back and to watch life go by. But you know what, if it doesn't take much effort, and you mentioned it before, like just finding your purpose, and life just seems to go by so quickly when you're in the flow, and you don't question, and you're looking out for those signs and the synchronicities by the clarity that you provide.
Yeah, and that's right. That reminds me, I can never remember the guy's name of who wrote the book Flow, you know, but that sort of really long, you know who I mean, right? I'm sure. And but it is true, you know, time is a construct anyway, I believe, you know, something that we've made up. It doesn't really fully exist, you know, in a sense. We've constructed time, you know, around things. But when we are in, like you say, in a state of flow, true flow, you know, and really immersed in whatever we enjoy doing, and, you know, and fully engaged, then there is no concept of time either. You know, it just rolls forward. And that's why sometimes we can just lose time, you know. We can sometimes if you're really even enjoying a movie, all of a sudden the movie's over and you think, wow, where did that 2 hours go, you know? So it's a different concept, isn't it?
I definitely felt that in particular. So I've gone on to create a number of different businesses as a result of the first training academy, because I feel that the legacy for that is already stabilized, and the amount of people that I've been able to assist, not just from the first aid training and the safety, you know, products and everything that's been created as well, but it's all of those tools and everything that enhance that training so much more. And so it kind of went on to that. And so during that time when I was creating, you know, I was doing it around young children. And so late at night was my, you know, no one was going to disturb me at all. So I put the kids to bed, and then I'd be looking at the time going, oh my goodness, another 4 a.m. And then I'm up with the kids, and I was like surviving on no sleep whatsoever. So I just encourage viewers that, yes, when you do get into purpose and you get into passion and you do get into the flow, it's really exciting. But one thing that you've got to remember is balance, you know. I've had a couple of wake-up calls with that as well with my family. sometimes you can forget, but it's all about life is, you know, we're learning, we're evolving, we're growing every single day, and it's about learning what can we do, and you know, looking for the happiness and the joy in everything that we do every single day.
And I think as well of that, you're right. You know, I 100% agree with you, because similar, you know, we get burnout. You know, we throw ourselves in, and we forget self-care. You know, which I think is very, you know, like I talk a lot about functional selfishness, and I think it's that self-care, because without that, you know, our family end up with a dimly lit, you know, dull version of us, not our true vitality, you know, and our beautiful essence, because we're just burnt out and tired. So I think that having that balance, you know, of teetering, you know, on the edge and bringing things together is very, very important. So thanks for that reminder.
It's all about filling your cup up first, because you mentioned the self-care. It's also the rituals and everything that, you know, I'll share some of them in a little bit with the viewers as well. And it's like being committed to working on yourself every day and filling your own cup up, because you can't give from a cup that's empty, you know, resentment builds. So it's like, you know what, if you can just be a free spirit and, you know, just really fill your cup up and nurture your soul, you know, things just come so easily. Because
that's right.
So that training company, the first one that was created, became highly sought after and won international business awards. And you know, prior to that, as an engineer, I remember being in that role, and women are really creative, and so putting my input in and everything. But you know, in the military, sadly, we're not voices. You get your voice kind of removed, and I had the voice and the sort of say, oh no, those ideas are not really great at all. But then others would be winning, you know, commendation stuff. So when you work for yourself, at least that, you know, you can be the voice, you can tune in and you can do, you know, whatever you like, and you're passionate about it. And so a lot of people then ask me, well, how did you get out of that career into this new career? So that's when my other company was created, You Can Too. And it's all the tips and tools to really help people to nail down what it took to get out of that space, into that corporate space, into the heart space, and living that life in flow. So so there's lots of tips and tools. I'm just going to share. I've got a couple of books up here, but there's a book here, and this is, I've only done book collaborations. I haven't actually written my own book yet, but you know, do have a publishing company, so I'm sure it's on the way soon. But this one's called Ditch the Ladder, and so this is one of my friends, Samantha Chambers, her book, and so I co-authored this book with her, and that was all about, you know, women that are out, you know, in corporate space that had massive transformation and change. Because, you know, some of your viewers might feel that they're stuck. You know, they might have gone to university, they might have studied, they might have feel trapped in that career, as what I did. But it's all possible that you can change. And these tips and tools that I will share will allow you to get out of that head into the heart space. And then that gives you the strength to be able to jump into the unknown and to actually ask the good quality questions from, you know, the universe or God or your higher powers, whatever you believe in, to ask for that guidance, and then to listen for the synchronicities as they show up. Because we all have the gifts, as you mentioned before, but sometimes we can go through life and you question why. Losing my my adopted dad maybe 5 years ago, I remember being with him for the last 5 weeks of his life, and it was just so special. But I remember his life and how he was full of regret and things that he wanted to do and he hadn't done. And so my life is all about, you know what, that time for him on this earth probably went so quick. So waste it, you know, like just do it anyway. He cares what people say and think. What people say and think is not anything to do with you whatsoever.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that's very important. It is. We get so much, well, a lot of us, or you know, clients I work with, I'm sure you're the same. This comparisonitis is a huge thing, you know, that comes up. It stops people in their tracks, and it's, you know, even more so, it's what am I trying to think of the word now? But it's really, I guess it's perfection in a way, you know, procrastination, a lot of like, oh, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, you know, all those universal fears, you know, crop in, and it just stops them from even trying.
Exactly.
You know, and taking a step and having a go, because I think failure and failing forward is one of the most beautiful gifts you can give yourself.
Absolutely.
It truly is.
Look at how much that you learn when you fail. You know, when you have an incident, like having an incident that I had, all the things that I learned as a lesson from that has propelled me from strength to strength to strength. And everyone has that ability as well. And I think the comparison is a thief of all evil. Now, we go through that. I still go through that. You know what I mean? And I've got to catch myself out, which is where you say to see, stop, swap.
Yeah.
You know, like social media, it's in our face. Instagram, it's in our face. We're seeing these people with these glam lives, doing blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And you think
the beautiful fake book.
Yeah, that's it. And then you're trying to juggle your balls because you know, going through another obstacle, which is actually the gift. You know, when you're going through an obstacle, you go through every obstacle the same. It's like, doesn't matter how small it is or how big it is, I just send the energy to the outcome that I desire. And I see that as done every single time. And I've gone through some massive obstacles in my life, let me tell you. But, you know, when you feel like sometimes something is happening and you think, oh my God, I can't get my breath out, you know, you just need to concentrate on that. And the comparison and seeing other people and thinking that they don't have anything going wrong in their life is totally wrong. You know, those of us that do go through big obstacles, some go through bigger obstacles than others, we're actually chosen. You know, you're chosen and you learn, you're evolving so much more, you're growing so much more, you're learning so much more, and then you get to share that with other people as well. So it's not a negative thing to go through challenges.
That's right.
I say it's more of a negative thing not to have any challenges, because, you know, one of the biggest needs that we have is growth and contribution. So how are we growing if we're not learning and going through stuff ourselves, you know?
That's very true. And I think I agree with you. You know, I believe that we choose our path, you know, into this world. We choose the challenges and the things that we want to be tackled with, shall we say, so we can grow and evolve, you know, even more. And like you say, learn the lessons that perhaps we, you know, unfinished business, so to speak, you know, that we need to resolve.
The sacred covenant, you know, like they often say that you choose your souls before you even enter into the world. Or, you know, with your children, you choose them and you kind of go, oh my goodness, what's this? And it's like, sit back and just go, here's another learning lesson. This is a gift. This is what you're learning, you know?
That's right.
You know, there's no point asking, questioning why. It's happening anyway, you know? But so send the energy onto the outcome that you want to desire. And that's another tip that, you know, I used on that day, you know, with Carson. I had to send energy to the outcome I wanted, because I was already in the massive perturbation and chaos, you know? But what I do also know, Fiona, one of our really good mentors, like I've been so blessed to be immersed in with some of the world's best leaders, and Blessing is one of the leaders that I really, really resonated with. And he often would say, what comes after perturbation is massive success. So you are in chaos, you are going through an obstacle, realizing it's not permanent, you're going to get through it, these times shall pass, and learning the lessons that you're learning to be able to move on to the next phase of your game of life. It's like a game of life, you know, you're getting to the steps of ladders, you're getting to the top of it.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree. It's like you know, frustration and confusion, I think, is another precursor to another breakthrough, a glass ceiling, you know, because I think there's sort of a lot of frustration builds and you don't know, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, okay, this is what I've been missing, you know. So it's that next level stuff. You
know, I kind of think, like, I just even go back to, you know, my son's drowning incident, and I think, had that not have happened, so sadly we've got another daughter that's not doing too well. We've been fighting to keep her alive for about 10 years. So she's on the pharmaceutical, you know, round train kind of thing, but I have to respect I'm her mum and respect what she decides as a daughter. She's now 22. And like, for me, I'm holistic. You know, I believe in the pharmaceutical with the holistic, but she's very science-based and actually in the industry herself. And so being in that world, with having an unwell child, living in a hospital for sometimes 10 weeks at a time, you know, several times throughout a year, there is no way that I would have been able to have time off like that in my career, to be able to have time off to sit with them, But being an entrepreneur, I could, have my laptop in there in the computer, in the hospital, and just, create a way, going totally into the creative space. And so that's another real gift for, your viewers to understand that, just to stop for a moment and dream. And if you don't know where you're dreaming, or, just remember to ask for that guidance, and ask for something to show up, or ask for some miracle or something that you can't mistake as a synchronicity, and make sure that you're open to listening and seeing those synchronicities, because sometimes you go, what, that's just insane, but it does line up. And when you jump for it, you can understand that that's another piece of your puzzle to continue with your purpose.
Yeah, and I think that's it's really good timing that you share that with us, because I know that on Wednesday night I have you as my guest also on the Inspired to Thrive show, which is for the mompreneurs and really soul business owners, entrepreneurs. And I think these two sessions, really, this is why I wanted to do them in the same week, because I think they do marry together beautifully. Because I have a belief that to be a really successful entrepreneur, you do need to drop into your heart space. It's no good getting stuck into your head. So I thought talking around getting out of your head into your heart is really another beautiful set of tools and tricks and armory, if you like, that makes you even bigger force to be reckoned with. And I know you're going to be sharing your tips and strategies and beautiful other platforms and things that I'm really excited about, how people can share products and services as well. So it's going to be an exciting session as well on Wednesday.
Yes, and I think that I'm going to just share with you viewers, just take a few minutes out just to share how that kind of came about as well, because yes, I am a visionary, and I've evolved over time, I'm so grateful for the incident that happened that woke me up to get me into this space, because it allowed me to actually stop for a moment and dream, and actually create and see problems in the world that I could see, and then come up with solutions for today's problems. And so I've been really good at doing that all along. But what I was doing is being a speaker as well, traveling the world. I've also overcome my health as well. I was on chemotherapy for about 8.5 years, and I broke my back and had to learn how to walk when I fell off an aircraft work stand. So I've been through a lot in my life. But what's really wonderful is all the products that have been created as a result of all the incidents. So all the lessons that I learned, that I'm like, well, hang on a minute, how can we avoid that happening again? How can others, always thinking of that serving space, how can others avoid what I've been through and better preserve their lives? And so these products that were created, and I manifested this beautiful healing property that we live on now, that we actually have healing trees. And these are Aboriginal. So about to launch these incredible products, have a massive collaboration with the Aboriginals, which is another whole show, but it's just fascinating.
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely.
Fascinating how it came together. So I just needed somewhere to be able to direct people to the one place. So instead of having to say, go here to get this, when people wanted to know where they can get this product from, or that program, or this or that, or whatever, it just got so much hard work for me. And I just went, it'd be so much simpler if I could just put it all in the one place. And I'm also referring a lot of people's products as well during the journey. So it just made sense. Put them all on the one place. I had no idea, Fiona, no idea whatsoever on how that was going to come out. And this is another powerful aha moment for you viewers as well, because quite often in our lives, when we have a vision, we get it stuck in the house.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you don't need to know the how. You just need to send the energy to what you want. And all I could see every single day when I did my visualization, I could see, hear, feel it done. I could see all the customers. I could see all the merchants with their wonderful products. So grateful that they're part of our program. I could see there's so much gratitude everywhere. And I saw it as done, and the rest was history. I then manifested my now business partner, who is fascinating. He's so amazing. And I did meet him on my personal development journey about 12 years ago. We have similar values, but very different strengths. So his IT, online marketing, computer programming is just off the radar. And Summer, if you're watching, hi. But so he was able to, he asked me to flew up to the Gold Coast before COVID, and he asked me to speak on his platform in India, because he's from India originally. and
Yeah.
he has a lot of influence in Singapore and Malaysia. So he asked me to speak on his platform in those countries on health. And I was like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. I was so grateful for the opportunity. And I said to him, can I share with the audience about the platform that I'm creating, the marketplace? He said, of course you can. Show me what you've done. I was a little bit embarrassed because it was still, I mean, I had done a little bit, but not much, but it was still in the visualization stage. And he was like, oh, and he just rattled off all this stuff to bring it to life. He just went, all you need to do is blah, 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 blah. And I said, that's great, except that's not my expertise. Tech is not my expertise. And I said to him, would you partner with me? And he said, look, I wouldn't do it with anyone else, but absolutely. And it's been the most perfect thing and the most perfect time as well. So on Wednesday, we'll be sharing more about that. But the whole thing is just that COVID has taught us about community. It's also a lot of people, you know, have been suffering lockdowns and everything. And we're in a different world. We're in the age of Aquarius right now, which is online information technology. So we'd already created this and launched it in May last year, well before we even knew it was the information technology age. So how amazing is that? So
that's right.
Stirring in the soul that not questioning, just jumping in, boots and all, and not even questioning, and look what you can create. So sometimes if your brain tries to justify and say, what, you're going to do what? You know, but now I look at it and go, wow, that's pretty insane. That was a vision that came to me way before we're even, you know, COVID was even thought about. Yeah. But we all have that, Fiona. We all do.
Yeah, that's right. And like you said right at the very beginning, it's learning to trust ourselves and to listen to the whispers of the soul, isn't it? That's the real one of the big keys, I think, that certainly a takeaway that I hope many people will take from this live as well today.
Yeah, absolutely. And because like we wear different hats. And so when you mentioned, you know, and you did my bio and it's like, oh yeah, she's a mum of 3, she's a wife, she's a blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, yeah, but be present where you are. So when you're a mum, be a mum. You know, I can't emphasize that enough, you know, because life just, my kids are now 22, 20 and 15. It just happens so quickly. It's those memories that we will take with us when we get older, you know.
Yeah.
For your partner, you know, your partner, your wife, your husband, whoever it is, your special person in your life, be present. You know, you don't need to be talking all the time, or they don't even need to know what you're doing. In fact, my husband had no idea what I was doing at all. And I had to get my business partner, Summer, to actually
explain.
Just because, yeah, and you know, it's often like that in a relationship, you know, and now he's boots in and all, and he's so, you know, he's so excited and he's really proud of what Summer and I've created. So it's about, but taking, you know, taking those special times out to fill your own cup. Spend the time, be present where you are. And I run multiple businesses. So where I am, I'm giving my all, my 110% in that business, in the particular space that I'm working at that particular time.
Yeah, and that's very true, because I'm similar to you. I have a few different, you know, directions of interests and businesses, and it is important to be present, you know, with what you're doing. That's why I find it's important to, although I say there's no construct of time, we all have this 24/7, you know, 24 hours in the day. And I think it's a true measure of how successful you are as to how disciplined you are with your time.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
You know, because all of a sudden the day can be gone and you've done nothing, or you can be so productive and achieve, you know, exactly what you want to do. And like you said, in the areas of, you know, I have my calendar cups up, I know what I'm doing, so I focus on that, and everything else is blocked out till it's their turn in the calendar, if you like. And I think that's a good way to manage things.
And the thing is, my calendar's always kind of full. It's just like, turn it. I don't know what's going on the next day, but I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. And Fiona, I wanted the viewers also to not only talk about like the comparison that we spoke about before, but also to celebrate those wins and the progress that is made. So, you know, Rome was not built in a day, so they say. So just taking those little bits. And so when you have those days that are really productive, you know, sit back at the end of every single day, before you close your eyes, before you hit the pillow and go to sleep, think about a win, even just one win, even if it's just getting out of bed, like even if it's picking your child up from school on time, that is a win, because there is so much negative energy out there. And if we immerse our lives with the news and all the chaos that's going on, that can really affect our energy and drag us down. we've got to be the biggest cheerleaders that we can be for what we're doing. And it's just like those simple things. Celebrate the win every single day. That's just going to help your energy. So when you go to sleep and you wake up the next day, you wake up with your great, gratitude. It's already setting you up for that beautiful day.
Yeah, I love that. Very, very, very important lesson. And I do that. I generally, before I close my eyes, just say 3 things I'm grateful for the day, and like you say, it's something small. It could be something big. It depends on, every day is different. But it helps me drift off to sleep with just a grateful, peaceful heart. That I did my best for the day, and I'm grateful for the lessons I learned, or how I failed, or whatever it happened to be. That help me to be better and do better next time.
Yeah, that's it. Because and that's the thing. As long as you're, trying your best and your best, yeah. And you can work on that if you feel that you're not so great in one area. You could choose that as a challenge area and to focus on that a bit more. But definitely, if you're not good at something, you're going to outsource it. Work with your strengths. So that's why we have teams of beautiful, PAs and stuff like that. And, I manifested Summer as well, because they're so good at what they do. You do what you do best. Yeah.
That's right. Because I think, I went through my own phase, and I'm perhaps sure you did as well, of hogging everything and not wanting to let things go, because this is my baby. It's my dream. I'm building it. But you soon realize if you're really, what's the word? You're determined to build and have the legacy that you want, then you need a team. You need people to help and walk alongside you on the journey. And like you said, there's enough for everyone.
Oh, totally.
It really is. There's enough for everyone. Never be frightened that you're never going to have work or have clients, because there are enough people for everyone to serve, all of us to serve.
Yeah. And there's no way that we'd be where we are if it was me doing my vision. No way. And Summer's really grateful as well for, for my input, I'm big on connections and doing the inner work, because the inner work, and we haven't covered too much of this tonight, but it's the inner work that we need to be able to get us, to shine our light.
Yeah.
Remove things that are no longer serving us, to protect us more, so that we can continue to have the faith,
That's right.
Inner work is one of the most important things, because there's no point not nurturing yourself, not doing your rituals, doing all these things and working when you're not breathing as well, because you're not getting as much done. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I think we would probably start to wrap up the session and the live. What else is it that you would like to share with us?
Well, there's a couple things so there's just a couple little acronyms. I really love acronyms, because it makes it easy for you to put it on your phone as a note, and then to remind you. And as you go through your processes, as your rituals and stuff like that, you can just be reminded of those things. So one thing that I picked up recently, it's the thing that's called time. TIME. So it's a matter of thinking about, thankfulness. What are you grateful for, in the first part of your day? With the I, what are you intentional about? So when we come from a place of serving, and it's not about us, but we think, how could I make someone else's day better? And you set that intention, miracles just show up, manifestations just show up, just by being clear and intentional. And the end is the meditation. So, some of your viewers might not, necessarily like to sit in a certain way, to sit like this and meditate. I meditate at the gym, actually. And my meditation, sometimes I'll do guided ones, but a lot of the time I'm just creating, I'm evolving. And I've had to do that from my childhood to be able to visualize my life that I wanted, because I didn't have the best childhood. And I'm the expert at that. In fact, I manifested my husband, I'm sure of it, definitely. So it's about getting into that space as well, and the meditating, and choosing something that works for you. It doesn't have to be a long time, even 10 minutes. That 10 minutes is such a powerful anecdote for you, just to be able to get into the heart space, so that things do show up as well. And so what was the E? Oh, sorry, the E is exercise as well, because first part of my day you know, that is the first part. I do a lot of rituals as well. I want to cover off 2 more tips with the rituals as well, but I wanted to talk about exercise as well, because I go to the gym, and not everyone needs a personal trainer or anything, but sometimes when you push yourself outside your extreme and you think, oh my goodness, I can't do this, and you do it anyway, and then you just get this immense celebration that you're like, oh my God, look what I just did, you know. Or it might be a walk out in sunshine. It might be, you know, at the beach, you might be hugging just whatever the exercise is for you, you know, just doing that moving is just helping your whole body, not just your, you know, your physical body, but your mindset as well. I focus more on mindset.
Beautiful.
That's really powerful. But with the getting into that energy space, the high energy space, into your heart space, because as I mentioned before, what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. So what if you could just sit back and hover over your life from when you were a little girl? And, you know, this is really sometimes difficult to do for some people, but you can just start small, you know. Just think about a proud moment in your life where you were so proud, and take yourself there and see, hear and feel as though you're watching down on your life when you were young or whatever age it is for you. And you go through the different emotions of happiness as well, love, laughter and excitement. The excitement part is where I generate, where I'm actually creating my life and I see it as done. Surrender, you don't have to know how, you just see it as done, and whatever impact you want to make in the world, you throw it in there, in how you want to live and whatever, and you surrender, and that's pretty powerful. So I wanted just to remind your viewers that whatever you can dream, you totally, and you believe you can totally achieve it. One of my good mentors, T. Harbecker, shares a very good another tip, which is TFAR. So that's thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results. Yeah, and that's pretty well everything. The feeling, that's why I like to emphasize on those emotions that I mentioned to you, because it's the feeling, how you feel, how you felt. You just, you know, just unveiling more of your soul, more layers there by just having that feeling. It's not just 3D, it's 5D, baby. And that's just going to really just amplify everything. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Because I know that with you know, with emotions or emotional words that come up, you know, what I share with clients as well is that often it's going, I always say, name at least 5 emotions of how you're feeling right now in that moment. Because what I, you know, believe through my study and things is the first 3 that come up are often the feelings or emotions that are associated with your tribe or your upbringing. You know, how you were expected to feel or to behave or to act, you know, around people, like seen, not heard, all these different things. So it's when you get beyond 3, they're actually the core emotions of how you feel, as you know, in your soul and your being. So I think that's so important to really dig into that work, whether it's journaling, like you say, or meditation. There's lots of ways to do it, but it's very important.
Absolutely. And also, you can't, you know, like if you're wanting love, for instance, like a good little heart, and love, you give love, you're going to get it back. Whatever you put out, you're going to get back.
That's right.
So it's like, you know, that friendly smile, the friendly wave, or even helping someone at the supermarket, you know, doing those kind of little things that, you know, you don't, it doesn't take much of your time, but it's kind of like giving you brownie points to get on your path. So.
Yeah, love it. Love the sign too.
I wanted to show you this as well. This is Treasure. So this is an amazing person, Carol, that I had not even met, and she was following my journey as well, just like yourself. And so I just remember thinking, you know, we've created this amazing thing. It's insane what we've created. And so Carol contacts me out of the blue, asked me to be part of this book collaboration. She's actually from Ireland. So Carol, if you're watching, hi. So she put this together. This is number 2. See, this is my number. This is the second book, but there's actually 3. She's going to continue doing these. And this gives people the voice to be able to share their stories during this pandemic on whether or not it's been a, you know, fruitful thing for them, or how they've actually experienced. So it's sort of like a book that will continue for generations.
Yeah, beautiful.
Appreciate it. So it was so powerful because it allowed me to share what we created, because we only created the online marketplace that we'll speak about on Wednesday just during COVID. And that was about being resourceful, pivoting, and just doing things differently, because the world is changing, and just going with it and not just focusing on what we were doing and the losses, like my training and everything. I had to go online with my training, which has actually freed me up massively.
Yeah.
I never had the time to do that before. And now it's like, oh my goodness, why didn't I do it before? So COVID, many gifts in that way.
I think so, and I agree, because I think you're right. A lot of, like, my clients as well, it was, how do I pivot? How do I get from a bricks and mortar building? What do I do now? I don't have any clients, people can't come, and this, that, and the other. So it's been a blessing, I think, for a lot of people, and a lot of people are experiencing the fulfillment of, work and entrepreneurialism in a different way that they hadn't perhaps. I think they always knew it was there, but they think, well, how, it's you get overcome with all the tech, like you say, how do I do it? How can I even do that? But it's just connecting them with all the right people, and things are flourishing.
Yeah, and going with that as well, even my clients as well, they want me the real deal. They want me there usually to be delivering, because the energy and everything that comes with it. And so with COVID, it couldn't possibly happen. We restricted timing and people, and blah blah blah. So it was kind of like, it freed me up, and then it showed my clients just what was possible. Still see me on the screen doing what I need to do. So just absolutely, and and videoing it and having it available, which was amazing. So with so I've got, with First Aid You Can Too, which was my first business here, I've got a special for your viewers. So if there is anyone around Queensland at all, I deliver training, and I'm honouring 20% off my training today.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, well, we'll definitely push it around our groups, because we do have, people, the VAs will take note of that, I'm sure. I know Jai's listening in here. And so certainly in the Queensland area, we'll push that around as well, as part of this live.
The tips and everything, and if you join the newsletter, you'll be accessing a lot of the tips. And I have my Tammy's top 10 tips on even making a first aid kit with household items, so if you'll get access to that one as well. And then just another one as well. So if there is anyone that wanted to get in contact with me to have a 20-minute discovery chat, just about going deeper into the tips that can really set you up to have the most powerful day. So we'll go a bit deeper than what we have on the call for you as well. So that's complimentary as well. So you can get in contact with me for that as well. And that would be my absolute pleasure to ensure that you get that time.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Well, I just want to really thank you for sharing your wisdom. And again, so much gratitude and love for you for sharing so openly your own journey. And I know how passionate you are about that, in terms of sharing the truth, because I really feel it will help others, what you've uncovered today. And you're a powerhouse. There's no other word for that. And I look forward to connecting again with you on Wednesday, and digging more into the exciting platform and how we can all get involved in that, and share all our products and services. Like you said, the value, the beautiful secrets and services that we have often locked inside. It's time for it all to come out. And I think what you've created is a beautiful platform that will allow those who choose to come along on the journey to actually be seen and found in a beautiful way.
Definitely. And those people that have created products, awesome, but also people that haven't created products, but they're like, they've got something they want to do. We've got that available to us that we can help, with jobs and create stuff. So it's never say never. It's
That's
always
right.
And with the whole community that we have, it is a collective, because we put it out to you guys to go, if you could have a magic wand to try and enhance your products and your services so much more, what could that be? And all of those things we're going to share on Wednesday, and be prepared to be blown away, because it is a beautiful vehicle. So for your viewers today, I know that we're going to be talking about it on Wednesday, but we have one of the platforms is for the products, for loads of products that loads of people have already got. So I wanted to give your viewers 30% off today by,
Beautiful.
by having.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll put that in the comments or somewhere, or send it to you to let how they can access it as well.
Great, that's perfect. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tammy. I really, as I've had a blast connecting with you and getting, you know, face-to-face time, which is really good. I appreciate your time. I know it's very, very valuable. You're juggling many projects. So again, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.
Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely love your screensaver at the back there.
Thank you.
It represents so much fun, and I absolutely love being aligned with superstar people like yourself. So I really feel so grateful to be part of your journey as well. So I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.
You will. Thank you. Bye-bye. And then to everyone else, we'll see you again, same time, same bat channel next week for episode 3 of Inner Strength, Inner Size Live. And I'll be announcing the guests shortly. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.